So today we are with Cristian Arrieta, and he's uh, an attorney here locally in Oxnard, California, in Ventura. And I met Cristian maybe about ten years ago, I think it was, at the Financial Plaza, the Tower. We had an office there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Cristian, and your background and your expertise.
Well, sure. I was born and raised here in Southern California. I grew up in the Southland, Manhattan Beach and surrounding towns there in the LA area. But I've been living up in this neck of the woods here in Ventura County since the late 90s, where I went to college and then I did law school down in San Diego, but decided to build and form my family here. I live in Thousand Oaks and for the last 20 plus years now, I've been practicing law in primarily the discipline of trusts and estates. And that includes estate planning, but also probate, conservatorships, trust administration, and litigation, which sometimes does occur regarding people's inheritances. So I happen to love my profession, and I love working with many families, from small to large, from sophisticated to unsophisticated, finding that estate planning is something that everybody should pursue as part of, carrying out their responsibility to their family to put their affairs in order for their loved ones.
Good. So we had an opportunity to do a session on the value of a trust for holding property, and there seems to be not very many limitations, right? The origin of our conversation started over the ownership of property by individuals that might be facing deportation. May that be uh, those with permanent residency or those that might be facing deportation because of their legal status not being established. Now, what options do they have available, and how can you help?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, one of the most important things that I think anybody should have, especially if they're concerned about the possibility of either temporary or permanent deportation, is to give somebody that they trust power of attorney to deal with their personal affairs, which would include if they're in business for themselves, but also just managing collecting their income, paying their bills, paying their taxes, making sure that their loved ones are being provided for in case of their extended absence. And so they can leave somebody that they trust their power of attorney. It can be for their spouse if they're married. It could be their one or more of their children if their children are adults, or it could just be a close family member or friend. But to avoid a, a situation where your personal affairs are left unattended, and so that and also very important to give somebody the power to make medical decisions for you if you become incapacitated or hospitalized and need somebody to make very important medical decisions for you. But then the next step in the layer that we discussed was creating a family trust. And I had mentioned that there's no such thing in a legal dictionary called a deportation trust, but it'd be important to have a family trust in place to keep your estate, your investments, your real estate ownership as private as possible and protected from things like fraud or abuse or probate uh, that can keep things as optimized tax wise as possible. But providing a mechanism there that if you were to die or you were to become incapacitated, if you were to become disabled, or if you were to be deported, and you need somebody to either help conduct transactions regarding your real estate, that could include buying and selling real estate, borrowing against real estate, or transferring real estate per the terms of your trust. You can at least rest assured that if, God forbid, you get deported, there's your family's not going to have to go to probate. Your family's not going to have to suffer the disadvantage of zero access to title to your real estate, to your bank accounts, to everything that is so important for your ongoing business.
Excellent. Well, here we are with Cristian Arrieta. Please share with with the audience, how can someone get a hold of you, and also tell us about the benefits. What does the client attorney privilege afford them as far as their protection?
Yeah. So when you meet with any attorney, we are governed by a code of professional conduct that most of us, and especially I, take very seriously, which includes that all discussions, documentation, and any sort of correspondence between an attorney and his or her client is privileged, and the client is the one that owns that privilege and alone gets to decide what, if anything, can be disclosed to other people, to third parties. But also, it is an attorney's duty to keep their client's personal business private and confidential from others. And so to actively protect their files, their correspondence, their communications, uh, maintain protections and privacy surrounding that, so that making sure that that whether it's the government, whether it's a police authority, or whether it's the tax authorities, or just strangers who think that they have something of yours is their business. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that is private and not to be disclosed to anybody.
So, as a client of yours, I personally endorse you as an attorney to do uh, estate planning. I obviously, because of your confidentiality, I will never know if they called you, because of you would never share that with me. But I just want to confidently share to people that if you are looking to consult with a probate attorney, and specifically for the subject matter on trust, property, family trust, to be able to manage property for those that are experiencing fear of being deported. And I think that everybody knows that we're going to die, right? So you would have to set it up anyway, right? As a way to avoid a probate scenario. How does someone get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me on at my office. The phone number is 805-981-8555. Again, my name is Christian Arrieta, and I'm the managing partner of the firm. I handle all things trusts and estates. And the website is lrmmt.com. And that's as in Lima, Richard, Mary Tango.com. And my friend Jorge has my phone number as well.
Excellent. So thank you so much for joining us today and teaching us about the value of setting up a trust. And then you also shared, a lot of different things. We encourage you to check out the video and learn more about it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.